Good evening, everybody. Hello, just give me 1 second here and we are kicking off. Yes, so hello everyone and thank you for joining us for this Microsoft React workshop this evening. My name is Erika and I am the program manager at Microsoft React Stockholm. Today, we continue with the 5th episode of the 12 episode event series around the world of Power BI in 80 days, a journey through the data platform. This series will provide you with a 360 overview of how to use Power BI to build impactful reports. Through hands-on workshops, you will discover how to transfer and visualize your data and go from 0 to hero just in 12 weeks. The first 4 episodes in this series were designed for beginners to get started with Power BI. The content becomes more and more advanced as the course progresses through the journey. And today, we take our first steps into an intermediate level of content. The second month is going to help you to further develop your skills. Our host has prepared some resources for you to be able to get the maximum out of this session. So please visit the check-in link via the link above and use the event ID 14441. I will also drop this link in the chat just in a second. But before we begin, just a very quick word about Microsoft's Code of Conduct. We all come from different backgrounds, so let's just be aware of each other, be patient and friendly, be welcoming and respectful. After all, we are all here to learn. Thank you. But now I say let's move on to the reason why we are all here today. In today's session, we are all joined by Parvinder Channa. Parvinder is a BI architect and consultant with over 20 years of industry experience. He runs a consulting company where he implements Power BI solutions for his clients. He is, of course, also Microsoft Data Platform MVP and a Power BI community super user, which means 6 years in a row has been working with Power BI ever since it was made available in 2015. His areas of focus include implementing end-to-end Power BI solutions, from data modeling to visualization, analyzing existing Power BI solutions, helping organizations follow best practices for scalable BI models, and providing training to help his clients achieve their Power BI goals. In the 5th episode of this series, we will dive into formatting options in Power BI. Conditional formatting can help to create stunning reports, just highlighting the data point in visuals. However, there is a lot more you can do with conditional formatting. And in this session, you'll learn about various techniques on how you can effectively use conditional formatting and bring life to your visuals. This session will run for about 45 minutes with questions at the end, with time for questions at the end. I think it is time for me to stop talking now and welcoming you, Parvinder. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let me just get back here and stop sharing. Yes, I have stopped sharing, right? Yes. Hi, hello. Hey, so yes, thank you so much for joining us for this session today. I will hand over to you. I will switch off my camera and my microphone, but I will be in the background if I am needed. Okay?
Thanks, Erika. Yeah, thanks.
Thank
nice
you.
to be here. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Let's do it. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. To share this. Can you see my screen?
Sorry, not yet. No.
No.
No. Oh, now it will come up.
Okay.
Now we can see her. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Bye.
perfect. But let me know when you get to see this PowerPoint presentation.
We can see it now.
Okay,
It's all good.
perfect. That's
Yes.
awesome. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I will be today talking about, as Erika mentioned, about conditional formatting. Here are a few of the things which I would like to talk and walk through today. Starting from very basic stuff like what kind of conditional formatting available in Power BI, how we can take advantage of measures for the conditional formatting. And I will be also talking about some advanced formatting tricks, just to bring something interesting in your reports for your users, and then of course best practices where you can go and learn more. Um, Before I begin, again, my name is Parvinder Chana, and I run a consulting company here in Vancouver, Canada, under the name of Paritas IT Solution. I'm a master data platform MVP using Power BI almost for 6 years now, since 2015 came out, and also a community super user. I've been super user since this program was introduced back in, I think, 2016 or so. Almost every time. This is a 6 month process of super user, and then I'm being a part of that. Um, One thing I would like to say, if you're using Power BI and if you have a question, if you're getting into Power BI now, starting it, or intermediate, or whatever the use case is, have any question, please go to community Power BI community forum and ask your question there. And there's tons of amazing people who can really help you to get solution. And I'm very active in community, and you can always reach out directly to me via email or through LinkedIn, and feel free to reach out if you have any question regarding Power BI. All right, let's get to the topic. Uh, so let's first, I'm pretty sure if you're already using Power BI or start using Power BI, you have seen conditional formatting in it. It's actually evolving every time we're seeing conditional formatting since Power BI came, or the new release comes every month. There's new areas where we can apply this conditional formatting. So a couple of things which I wanted to tell what these are, and they're a little bit different than depending on the visual you are using. For example, if you're using metrics and table visual in your report, you can set the font color, uh, you can set the background color of your cell. You can set the data bars, and we will see certain. These are very basic things which we can easily see in by creating in Power BI. You can also have the icons. You can create icons, like for example, if sale is uh, um, you know uh, better than the previous year or previous month or whatever the use case is, then show the up arrow key or down arrow key and whatnot. And also, we can create a web URL in the conditional formatting, which can take us to the external links as well. Um, a lot of other visuals, mostly. The conditional formatting is used, let's say, if you're looking at a bar chart or you're looking at a line chart or any other visual you're looking. Usually, you have a data points which you want to highlight. For example, if you're looking at sales by month, and you want to highlight the lowest sales by red color and bar with the red color and the highest sale with the green color, or let's say you're showing a data for last 60 days and you want to highlight today's date as a green color compared to the rest of the other bars in the visual, so that you know what the today is, all the stuff. So all this can be done with conditional formatting and using measures behind the scene. Little bit it's very important to know that the DAX is the core of all this stuff, right? When you talk about writing a measure, doesn't matter whether it's a calculation or we are going to use in a conditional formatting, DAX plays a very big role. So if you are uh, going to create these conditional formatting measure, you need to have understanding of DAX once you get into this. And I will show you some of the reports what I built and how I used conditional formatting and how I use the measures in my reports to create these stunning visuals. Um, so once we know the conditional formatting we can apply, what kind of conditional formatting we can do, like then there are further rules how you can actually apply the conditional formatting. For example, it can be on a color scale. You give the starting point is like red and the ending point is a green, and maybe the diverging with the yellow in between. So if you're showing the data from, it automatically calculate when the where will be the red color, where will be the green color on the color scale. So that's the one way of doing that, to show gradient and showing the your data bars in different colors, and you can define the scale, starting point and ending point. Um, Other one is by rules. What does that mean is like you tell, okay, if my sales is greater than $100,000, then it's a green or whatever. If it's between 50,000 to 100,000, red, and yellow, or below that is red. So you basically define the rules, which we commonly use in Excel. I haven't worked too deep in Excel, but I know sometimes I use Excel sheet where I created those reports, by defining those rules and then setting up the color of the visuals. Uh, by field value, this is which is we will be talking quite a bit, and I heavily use this, and this is my favorite, and this is how I use it, and this is what I'm going to show, and this is my recommendation to use, and we will talk about why this is important and why it is useful doing this. Um, Field value is basically, again, going back to the measure. You put your logic in the measure, like in the buy rules, as I said, if sales is greater than 100,000, then it's a red color. And if between 50 to 100,000, it's yellow. You can also create a measure with the same condition, and then you can apply that measure in your visuals to show the different colors. Um, the reason why it is by rules and by field value can most of the time achieve the same thing, but why it is easy to do with the measure, because uh, from my point of view, it is easy to make the changes, and the same measure you can recycle and use in a different visual, so you don't have to go into each visual. And for example, if you're showing a sales by product, and then you're also showing a sales by country or customer. And if you want to create these rules, then you have to go to the each visual and create the rules. So if you have like a three level of rules, like greater than, between, and less than, then you have to do to both the visuals, which will do the job for you. But if we create a measure and then apply that measure into both those visuals, which we will see, and then you're basically creating one measure and putting your logic in there, what you want to highlight, how you want to highlight, and then you can apply the same measure into multiple visuals. Um, so that gives it a lot more flexibility, easy to manage, and it's very scalable. Um, so let's quickly look into um, one of the demo here I want to show quickly, but let's quick take a quick look into all these kind of different conditional formatting and go from there. I'm going to share one of my Power BI report, not one of the greatest. Let's say this is very simple report. What we have here is a simple model here, typical star schema. We have a sales table, which is a fact table, and then we have all these dimensions. Actually, it's a snowflake. There's a couple things. Territories assigned to customer. So anyway, we're not talking about modeling, but just want to show how these things are connected. And let's say if I want to see sale by products, what I'm doing is I'm going to take my product line, or let's say line product is going to be load many, and and then I have a measure which is very simple. It's called sales, which is the simplest sum of sales. And Now, if I let me make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. 16 point. I guess this is big enough. And so as I mentioned about, there's a three ways that how we can set these the color. Let's say we want to show the color. Which one is the highest is going to be green and whatnot. So one way is like conditional formatting. There's a few ways to do that. People always, I was the way I use it, I go on a measure which I want to highlight or apply the conditional formatting on, click on the down arrow, and then you go on the conditional formatting, and then you can choose what you want to do. The other way is you go on a format pane, and then you have a conditional formatting here as well, and then you pick on which you want to apply the conditional formatting, and then you use that column from here. The easiest is like here because you actually know what way you're doing, but it's your choice. So let's look at the easy part first, which is like a color scale I mentioned about. You give the lowest and you don't give the lowest and the highest value. It automatically know what it is. And diverging, of course, you're telling what would be the in between. So we can change it to lowest is red, and let's say highest is going to be somewhat green here, and okay, and basically it does that for us because this is the highest value. And then if I filter on something, for example, if I go and put in a year, and let's apply a filter on this one quickly, and I'm looking into, let's say, 2 years data. So this color scale is changing as based on minimum and the maximum value, and automatically doing that. So that's the color scale does for it, but we don't have any control here what we can do. So we just give the only control we have. um, if I really wanted to um, for example, in the background color, I can define my minimum value, the lowest value. Instead of it takes by itself, you can say the custom value, and then you can say my um, starting point is always whatever it is. Let's say 20,000, and the highest is it automatically takes whatever that's going to be. So it's, right now we don't have any value. So anything um, starting point is 20,000 and onward would be the scale it will define. Um, I rarely use this, but it's very handy in certain scenarios. What I will, the one scenario which was introduced recently, let's say if we're looking at the bar chart here, and uh, and if we want to give the color scale here, and let's go and move. Now, when you are using a visuals except outside table and metrics visual, you don't have the same option here for the conditional formatting. That's something sometimes is very, very confusing. So you need to go to the format pane, and then it is a part of the data color. Basically, what you're saying is you're applying the conditional formatting on your data points and coloring your data points. It's a little bit different than when you're using table and metrics visual. Because in the visuals, on these kind of visuals, you can only apply format the colors, right? There is no cell or background and anything you're doing here. So you click this FX button, of course, and then you give your range and okay. And so I think the data points are very, very on the, say, go, probably have to pick whites all on the red. Should be, oh, sorry. Yeah. So one thing, when you are, this is also challenging. When you are in a matrix visual, let's quickly go back to a table visual. When I am applying a conditional formatting, it already know which column you're applying on. So I'm applying on sales measure basically. Uh, but when I switch to the a bar visual, or so when I go to format pane and go to data colors, um, you have to be. define what the color is based on what field. Right now it's taking into account of product line, but this is not what we want. We want it based on our measure, which is a sales measure. And let's go there. So now we can see that it shows that color scale from minimum to maximum. The one thing which I found is very handy, if you turn on the legend and you have a conditional formatting turned on, in the legend it automatically shows the starting, what is the minimum and the maximum, which is very, very handy. I think this feature was introduced a few months ago. So with the color scale, you can actually show the scale in the legend as well, which becomes very useful. What is the highest value it's showing, and what is the lowest. So if I, uh, pick the different range, and you can see the in the legend the scale, the starting point and the ending point is changing depending on the data. So this is very, very handy when you're using the color scale. Um, let's go switch it back to table visual. So when you are on the table visual, so as I mentioned, we have a few options here in conditional formatting. We can set the data bars, we can set icons and web URL. I'm not going to go into all of those, but show a few of those. So I can remove the background color. So data bars are really important to, like, basically sometimes you want to show things side by side, and then table visual is good representation. You can do that in here in the, you can show your data bars here. Basically, um, it will, let's say, pick this small light one, and you can actually turn, like, okay, show bars only, so don't want to see the um, uh, values. So you can do this. So now it looks like a visual, and then you can actually have the bar chart and turn off the values. Um, One thing you have to be careful with the data bars, that you cannot set a color in scale in here. You can't say, okay, if it's less than certain values or range, that the bar color, you can't define the bar color. Basically, whatever you pick and choose here, when you're doing the data bars for your visual, that's pretty much what you can pick, is like what my color is, but there's nothing much you can do about it. And of course you can have the lowest and highest value. This is useful, like for example, I want to show the bar chart kind of chart here in my visual, but at the same time I want to show the sales. um, I can drop it again, so I have a number next. Oh, actually, I can do that. I need to create another because same measure used in the visual, it take the conditional formatting from the previous um, setting you have done on this. So if I need the sales show as a number, the one way is I can go back and go to my um, data bars, and and uncheck that and show bars only. But if I wanted to separate two separate columns, one with the bars and one with the value, the only way to do that would be is I need to create another replica of my sales measure, and call sales duplicate, and just use my existing measure sales. So now if I duplicate, or whatever we want to call it. So now we have a we can turn, let's make it 0 decimal places, and on the sales on data bars, now I can go and show bars only. So now I have the value as a separate column compared to the data bar. So you can use this kind of technique, but you can't have the same measure shown twice. But I can change its name to sales if I wanted to. In table visual, you can also apply the color on your columns as well. So for example, I want to give a background color for my product line um, based on, let's say, my sales. And let's do it by rules. And we say if it's greater than, let's say, some number I picked from here, let's say 500,000. The one thing you will notice here is the max value is zero, and you don't know what your maximum value is going to be. In this case, what you can do is you can remove that value, and it automatically have the maximum value there. So you don't need to worry about what your upper limit is going to be. So it automatically calculates. So here we are saying is, okay, if my sales value is greater than 500,000, and whatever the maximum number is going to be, maximum sale is going to be, and let's say the label change it to green, for example, background green. So if I say okay here, so all these are like about 50,000 or 500,000 is now shown as as a green, and rest is normal color. So if this is sorted by product line, and now I know these are the one with above $500,000 sale, right? So you can say that. And the this column conditional formatting. You can only do in a table visual. You cannot do it in a matrix visual. So you have to be very, very careful. So if I'm using I want to highlight my product line and I want to do it, I'm using a matrix visual for XYZ reason. And let's say if I have a year on my column, so it's showing the sales by years. I'm going to remove the duplicate one just for the sake of so now in this case, let's say if I want to highlight the product line where the total sale is above 500,000, the same rule. Unfortunately, in when you're using Vertex Visual, you cannot do that. It's only column conditional formatting is only available in the table visual. So that's kind of you have to be aware of it. Um, so these are the very basic rules again, scale, and then you have a rules, you tell what is upper and lower limit or whatever you can have in the rules. But the biggest topic I want to talk about is like how you take advantage of creating a measure and then apply that in our visual. So here is an example. For example, let's take a look here and go back to the, I'm going to recreate this, maybe create a new page. So let's say we're seeing the sales by product line, and we have a sales, and then I also have a budget in here. So I'm just showing like how we're doing against the budget, and let's say percentage of by like how much we achieve, like 106%, 450%, and whatnot, right? So as we can see, that this is how much has been against budget, how much we have achieved. Some is way higher and some are way lower. And now I want to conditional format based on the percentage. So one way I can do here is, let's say I want to highlight the sales, which is about 50% achieved, make it green, and other is a keep it red, for example, just for simplicity sake. So I'm going to font color. Again, I go in the rules, I'm going to sales, greater than again. In this case, now I can use. I want to highlight sales column, but I want to highlight by my percentage achieved. So that's my percentage of budget. So I'm saying, okay, if my percentage is about 50% as a number, because we already calculated the number. Now, one mistake people usually do here is they say, they look at the number and they say, okay, this is about 50%, they will type 50 here. When it's a percent, 50 means here is a 500%, right? Because it's already, this is just a formatting how we're showing the data in a percentage. But the underneath the basic data is still if it's a 50% is zero point 0.5. It's not like a 50%. So you have to be very careful when you're working with the percentage. It's nothing to do with the conditional formatting, but in general, that's always people get caught into, okay, seeing 222% here doesn't mean this is a 222 value. It will be 2.22. That's what making it 222%. So again, we're gonna like above anything above 50 or less than, again, I go, let's make it, it's good. And then we can add a new rule. And again, we don't know what the minimum value is going to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go is less than or equal to, I remove this is the minimum value, and it's less than zero point 0.5. So because greater than 0.5, 50% is this color, and anything less than that is, let's say, a red color. And okay, so now you can see, maybe the color is too, it's not great, but you can see based on the percentage of budget, we have highlighted the sales color. Um, so this is good. We can highlight a column based on another measure or a now the challenge here, what I see is, let's say if I'm having the same report and same I'm showing it by product, but now I want to show it by uh, let's say customer, and same thing. I have a sales here, my budget here, uh, and then percentage of budget. Uh, Now the challenge is if I want to highlight the sales column following the same rule here, it means what I have to do is I have to go back here, conditional formatting, my font color, and then choose rules and whatnot, and basically do the same thing again. So anytime I applying the same conditional formatting on different visuals, I have to do the same thing again and again. So this is where my best practice and what I always follow is create a measure which define the rules, and then we use that for our color. So I already have a measure just to save our time. So I think I called it my budget color. So what I'm telling here is whatever the percentage of budget is, and that's the measure we know. And then if it's above 90%, then green. If it is above 70% yellow. If it is above 50% dark red, otherwise blue, right? You can also give a hex code here as well. So now, once I have my colors defined here, whatever the rules, if tomorrow I need to make another change, okay, if the budget percent is greater than equal to 0.25, the color is pink, I just need to come here and make the change in my measure. But how I will use it, and the advantage of using this is, let's say I go back to the sales, remove my existing font color. So again, I want to apply the my rules to my sales column based on the percentage of budget. So I go, let's say font color. Instead of color scale or the rules, I can now pick the field value. And now I am based on what field. That is, it says field, but that's actually a measure. You can only use measures here. If you put a column here, you need to give the aggregation, what that would be. So since I already have my color defined in my measure, I will pick that field and then OK. So now, based on whatever the rules I have defined, it has given me the colors. So the ease of use is, let's say if I want to make the change to the color, I don't want the yellow to be in this range. Don't want it to be yellow. Let's say I want it to be red. I just come here and change it to red, and immediately that measure will have an impact on the visual, right? That's the one thing. So easy to change. Now I can make the changes here. I can increase my range if I wanted to, and it becomes really, really easy to use. Uh, and one advantage is now the same thing I want to apply here. This is my showing the data by customer. I don't need to reapply all the rules and all the stuff because my percent of budget has been already calculated. So I can go in the font color, and now I go to field value and my budget percentage color, and boom, right? So same rule has been applied here. And so basically we are recycling that measure. But yes, in case you want to, there's a different set of logic for your customer showing the percentage of budget compared to the showing by product. Then you have to create two different measures. But generally, it is the same. Like okay, anything when you're looking at as a report, like showing the sales by year. Now, for example, if I'm showing the sales by year, and let's put the sales here. The same rule I can apply here, okay, and if I needed to, so same stuff, I go to font color and field value and my budget color, boom. So same rules are applied everywhere if we look at the percentage um, and whatever the rule we have defined, okay, these are the blank, so they're showing um, I think that's the logic I have in there. There's no budget, I guess, for those years. Um, So having said that, so this becomes very, very easy that you create a measure, put your logic in there, easy to change and whatnot. For example, if I put in a, it has in a hierarchy and put month under year, and if I expand my 2020 and same rules are applied on onto the month, and if I go further down to the date level, um, and then would be the same rule applied for that particular day as well, or whatever the use case is. I think there's no budget for that. That's why. So creating the measures and applying that, it's so easy to change. But I'm gonna, so this is just the basic stuff, and I think the real value come in which I found is, I'm gonna quickly switch to another Power BI file here, which is this. I already have something here. So this is, for example, here is a sales report, same sales report, but a little bit more. I've created visuals in this one. I have slices here and showing the sales by months and by territory and whatnot. So if I want to highlight, conditional formatting I want to apply, I can again create my percentage color. My year has the same. I think on this one I haven't created. This is what I want to show here is, so we created a percentage of color in my other demo. Here what we did is, that's my budget color. So I defined these ranges here, if you see. So I said, okay, if it is greater than 90, do this, 70% do this, and whatnot. But let's say if the business requirement changes tomorrow, and then anything above 50 doesn't need to be yellow, whatever the different use cases. So the challenge in that case is going to be that you have to come back to your Power BI report, right? You open your report. Let's say it's already published, and people are using it. And if you want to make the change in conditional formatting based on the measure, you have to reopen the report and change your measure, whatever that is, and then republish the report. So basically, you have to go through that process. So we can take it to the next step, right? What we can do is, instead of having those fixed values given in our measure, we can maintain a table or a data somewhere. It can be a Excel sheet, or it can be in a database if you're using backend. A simple table which contains our conditional formatting information, right? And then we use that in our measure. So this is what I'm gonna show you guys here. So I have a very simple table here, which is called the budget color. I think I can't. So what this budget color is doing is, I give the range here. I said, okay, if the percentage is, I gave a random, like very random number, minus 10,000%. So basically what I'm saying is, if this is between less than 60%, this is the color. So I'm giving the color in my data set as well, and also the range. So why I'm doing this is, tomorrow if I need to make any change, I don't need to go to Power BI and make the changes. I will, wherever I'm maintaining this data set, I will just come and add another row, or remove a row, or change the rules. If it is now not 50 to 60%, let's say there's another requirement to show in a different color. And I can also change the color. I can come here and change the color, and it will impact the whole report, instead of fixing the colors in my measure saying red, green, yellow, or whatever these X code. So how this is being used? So I created a table which contains just a label for my information, a minimum and maximum value, and what color I want to use. So then once I have this table, I created this measure. Again, as I said, the DAX is your friend. Same thing what I'm doing here is, I'm taking, okay, what is my percentage of budget? So from my budget color table, I'm taking the color based on in which range my percentage fall. If it is within whatever the range it is, and let's say 60 to 80%, give me that color. And we will talk about what I'm doing here. So let me actually change this measure quickly. So So what I'm doing is, I'm saying, okay, based on the percentage of budget, doesn't matter how we are looking at the data, whatever in that context the percent of budget is, take the minimum and maximum value for my table and give me the color which I want to use for my conditional formatting. And now this gives me the opportunity to if tomorrow I need to change a range, I need to change a color, I don't need to go anywhere. I go in the back and refresh my Power BI report in the cloud or data set, and all the colors will change. So here is the outcome of what I have done. So if you look at the same report, same page, but I have applied this new rule. If we look into any of these visuals, so they all follow the same one measure for the conditional formatting. If I go in the data bar, data color, so I go FX, so pretty much field value and percentage of color. And if I come to this one, I have a FX, so field value, percentage of color. Come to my scatter chart, same thing. And so what does that mean is one percentage color. Now it is very dynamic, right? So measure is being used in all the visuals. They all look identical. What does this all mean? Why, right? And and if I need to change the color, the red, or create another range, I don't need to come to here to change my measure. What I just need to go is wherever I'm maintaining that data set, which I was just showing you budget color. Let's say there's a if there's a requirement come, anything 200 plus percentage should have some color, and I will add a row here, which will be the starting point will be point two. Actually, it's a 200% two to whatever the upper limit is, and then whatever color I want, and that's pretty much it. And it will the measure will take the range and then apply in the here in our visual, and all the visuals will change. It's not now tied to the one visual, so they all wherever that 200% is above 200%, that will show in that color in all the visuals. So this becomes really useful. Uh, Even I can take it to the next level from here. So this is basically very dynamic. My colors, my range are maintained in a table, and I don't need to come to Power BI report to make the changes. I change in my data, and that rolls into my report, and easy to use. And I can change use that table into multiple reports as well, right? So the color scheme across the organization or whatever the use case is for conditional formatting remains the same, right? Um, I used to do like set the colors in each individual visuals, and the corporate has their own way. Okay, certain things in a certain way they want to show. They have their own color palettes and whatnot. So it's easy now to maintain that through that particular table. So we can take it to the next level. Now, for example, now here is the same page. Everything is same, but what I've done here is I have created a from that particular table, I created this as a slicer, right? It's now showing you if I highlight it, showing okay anything. So it's become a legend, right? There is showing me anything less than. So if we go back to this page, we don't know what does this means, right? Is it like why it is red color, right? Until we specify it somewhere, right? Why this is green? Why this is yellow? Why this is dark red? It's very hard to answer. So what we have here is so this particular visual here, I created from that specific color table. So it's basically giving me everything, saying, okay, anything less than 60% is, I can label whatever I want is red and whatnot, right? So I'm basically maintaining that conditional formatting metadata in a table and then using it. So this becomes very useful. Now user can say, okay, anything less than 60% budget, yeah, right? Budget versus actual is in the red and very informative. And the other part of this is, let's say, if I want to use this as a slicer as well, okay, I just want to see the sales with the 95%, right? So I can click on that, and now everything else has been changed to a different color, and only the sales with the 95% plus is in the green color or the actual color. Like if I click 60 to 80%, those are highlighted and rest is changed. And this is what I'm going back to my measure, and the reason why this one is done is to show you the difference. So what I'm telling here is if I don't get any color from my this calculation, again, I don't want to go into DAX and all the stuff, but what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, if I'm not getting any color, then change it to the light gray. So the reason why I'm doing is, so now if I uh, select a data point, those data points are highlighted in that specific color. Like I selected 60 to 80%, the rest goes to the light gray color because in the measure I mentioned that. And if I click less than 60%, now it is very easy that you can actually highlight those data points. So this particular visual here, what I used is I created a tree map, and on the tree map, I pretty much from my budget color table, I put the label in there. And as you can see in the table, in the budget color, we have a label. This is a label I'm using to display in there. I can have anything in here like budget versus actual less than 60%, whatever I want to display, right? I'm maintaining this in a table. And then I'm showing it here in a tree map from this table, and this is working as is because this table is being used in the percentage color measure as we saw it here, and it is allowing me to use it as a legend as well as a slicer. So this becomes really, really useful that I can actually click on these data points and it highlights those things, and the rest is you can see where the things are. So this becomes really, really useful. And now what we have here is the advantage of this is we have a one measure which is used in all the visuals. So I don't need to go and manually change the range or whatnot. If I need to maintain or add new ranges or change the color, I don't need to go anywhere. I don't never need to open my Power BI report. I just need to go back where I'm maintaining this my budget color table and just make the changes in that, whatever I want it to be. And within 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes, depending on you make the change into, let's say if it's an Excel file sitting on a SharePoint, you just make a change, go to Power BI service, refresh your data set, and the changes are immediately available. So as fast as as easy and as fast it can be. So I always use whenever I start a report, I always when I know most of the reports where you put these conditional formatting, I always start with not to manually do it. I always create a table, whatever the use case is, create a measure and start applying that to my reports. And then it becomes very, very easy to manage, make the changes, and it's very, very flexible. How are we doing on time? Oh, wow. So a couple of other things which I know I'm running a little bit out late. So line chart, we all know does not allow, this is a line chart, uh, and it's showing a data points with the, again, same measure has been used for the percentage, but the line chart, if you, this is a line visual, as you can see, it does not allow, it does not have the same conditional formatting option. So if you guys already know, the best way to do this is like if you want to apply conditional formatting on line chart, you first create a bar chart. Basically, in the bar chart, you apply your conditional formatting. Again, this is a field value percentage color. So I'm showing the sales by date, I think. Um, yeah, year hierarchy. So I'm showing it by year and different hierarchy I created, year, quarter, blah blah blah. And then in sales, I'm applying that my same measure here. So based on the percentage of actual. So now, once I do this in my visual and bar chart, I just switch it to a line chart, and immediately I get the same data points highlighted based on the color, because line chart does not have, similar with the pie chart, doesn't have that. You can create a bar chart, and very rarely you use pie chart, but like you create a bar chart and then you apply your conditional formatting, and then you switch to the pie chart, it will work. What I did here is I create a bar chart, and then in the shapes, I think I put the stroke width to 0, and so that the line doesn't show up. You cannot highlight the line, you can only highlight the data points. So I made it to 0, and then that's how you apply conditional formatting. Other thing is low and high data points. For example, you want to show in your um, uh, data points, which year was the maximum sale and which year was the minimum sale. On the year level, it doesn't make any sense. But let's say if I go to the a date level, let's switch to bar chart. So now I can see the minimum sale was on this particular date. I've been highlighted this as a red and highlighted the maximum sales with the green. The way I achieve this is, again, tax is our friend. Don't go into get carried away with the long backs here. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm saying I'm setting up like what is my low color and what is my high color. Again, this I can store in my metadata somewhere. And basically, based on that, I am finding uh, across all the sales I've done, whatever the period I'm looking at, if the sales is above, I'm getting the maximum sales here, and I'm also getting the minimum sales in through these DAX code or calculations, and then I'm comparing my sales with the maximum sales. If it's a maximum sales, then color is red, green. Otherwise, it's red. So it doesn't matter what level I'm looking at. If I'm looking at a quarter and my measure is doing now Q3 2017 has the maximum sale and Q1 2014 is the minimum sale. And again, if I'm switching to the year, so that measure is taking care of all that stuff. And I have done it once. And if I go even to the date level, I think it's the lowest granular. So it's telling me February 13 in 2015 was the highest sale, and we have some negative sales as well on that period. So with this stuff, you can really, with the Maya, you can actually achieve all that stuff. Uh, and again, I switch it to line chart to show the data points. If I really don't want it to be, see the bar chart, but I have this line chart and I can again, in a shape, um, turn it off. Oops. And now this shows me when was my lowest sale and when was my highest sale. I mean, I'm just showing you, but not necessarily it's a good representation of data, but you can do it. You cannot change the size of the um, um, in line chart. You can't change the data point size, so it's what it is. Um, one more thing before I go. Now we're already have a quick. I already probably there's a blog I have written about this. This is very heavily used. I use it all the time. For example, we have this visual here, and very simple. It's showing sales by date, and I have a date range and as a slicer. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting my different date, and the normal behavior is if you let's actually duplicate this. No, that's not going to work. Actually, maybe take this page. So on this particular page, if we look at, so this is a simple bar chart, and here is the one with the conditional formatting. I will show you what I'm doing. So if I pick a date range which doesn't have a sales, my bar chart is go a blank, right? And not this is our normal behavior is. So basically you selected something, there's no data, the visual just disappeared. But with the conditional formatting, what I've done here is like actually once you are showing no data, you get the opportunity to show this message to the user. It will become very informative. And how I did it, I'm just going to quickly run it, show you. So I have two visuals. One is a bar chart which is sales by date, and then I have a card visual. Card visual is basically I'm overlapping and group those together, and then sales by date is on top of. This is very important. So this is on top of the card visual, and on my data bar chart, what I've done here is I have created the background. I did the background, turned it off, right? So I don't want to see the background. So my um, card is behind this visual, but we don't see anything. The reason behind, if I go to the card and look at the card properties, what I have done here is I have given it a conditional formatting to my data label. And again, what I've done here is I went to field value and my color text. This is a measure. Again, I'm always using a measure so that I can control it. So what I'm doing in that measure, so if I look at the color text, so this is the measure. So um, so I want to show the color red and the 00. This is a hidden gem, and if you guys don't know, so there is the hex code as like this six um, characters, and the last one is shows the transparency, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm saying, okay, here is my color that I want to show, and then I'm setting up the transparency based on the sale. So right now, if there is this range selected, so there is a sales, right? As if I put this as in a measure here quickly, um, the sales measure and make it a, so it's $100 sales, right? And if I'm going, whatever the range I'm selecting, my sales is changing, $300 sales. So what I'm telling in my color text here, that if there is no sales, then add this transparency value to it. So let's say what happened. If we go to a range here, and then there's no sales, and this is what is happening, no sales, then I'm adding, so I'm changing the color, the no data found for selected period. It's always there, but we don't see when there is a sale because of the transparency, right? Because I'm changing its transparency to 0%, so it shows up. Otherwise, it doesn't show up. And so that's like one good technique that how you can actually take advantage of conditional formatting and overlap the visuals and then set the transparency, which is last two. You can add the additional two characters to your color string, and then that becomes a transparency. I think I have a chart here which shows you different transparencies. What does that look like? So there is a little stuff in here. So I'm setting it 0 to 100%. What are the different values? It's available online. You can find it out. Search Google. And other things like with the text as in a background, with the image, I can put an image as in a background. Same technique. I have a two, bar chart, sales by date, and I have an image shown as in a overlapped on this. And as you can see, as I select the image, it shows the image. Let's go to somewhere. So now it doesn't, it shows the image. You can create an image and then show at the behind. So what, in this case, what I'm doing is, so these two things are overlapped on each other. And as you can see, the sales by date, my bar chart visual, um, just quickly, the background is set as a color, which is based on the color background measure. So if I look at the color background measure, so again, the same thing, I'm setting up the transparency of the background color depending on what is happening. So as there's no data, no sales, the transparency changes. So it looks like there's no background now for the bar visual and bar chart, and the image behind the scene it shows up. So basically with the measure, with the transparency, I'm setting those things. So these techniques are very, very helpful. The point here is you should know how to create those measures, and then the transparency code is basically last two characters, like 100% or 0% is doing the magic for us. I think I'm running out of time. Just quickly go back to my slides if anything I missed. Um, Again, I love using measures. As I said, it's scalable. You can apply in a multiple visuals. It's so flexible, easy to change, easy to maintain, and you can recycle. And we just saw that how one measure is used at a multiple places. Transparency codes, we just look in that, like you can last two digits you can add, and there's a transparency value you can add to that, and then you can group the visuals together to get that kind of a user-friendly message to the user. Okay, you have selected the period which doesn't have the data, and we just saw that demo on my website. On my blog, I have shown the technique, and you can download the Power BI file there and has all the information in there. Uh, Quickly to remind, like, only measure can be used in the conditional formatting. In table visual, we saw you can format a column, but based on another measure, but not in the matrix visual. Um, um, Again, create measures. I love creating measures and then use that for conditional formatting rather than going there and setting up the rules and whatnot. So it becomes very tedious if you have to go and change it. And so in my last point, as I shown you guys, I'm storing the metadata of my colors, my range, and whatnot in a table, and then I'm using that table in my measures. And any point of time, if I need to make any changes anywhere, I instead of going to my report and changing the measure or changing the rules or whatever, I go and change in my data and refresh the data set, and all the changes are there. Thanks for your time. It's a pleasure to present, and I think I can stick around for answer any questions if anybody have. And sorry if it went over time. Thank you. Erica?
Yes, I'm back. Hello, hello. I'm here. Can you hear me? You should be
Yes,
able
I
to.
can. Yeah.
Yes. Hey. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. What a morning, hey?
Yeah.
It's better than coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much once again, Parvinder, for this powerful session.
Thank
I
you.
would just like to encourage everybody to ask questions if you have any. I see one. Sorry, I must board. Yes, Dave, I will link right away the YouTube series, a playlist where you can rewatch the last week's session, and also this today's session is also going to be up on this same channel in about a day or two, very very quickly. Yeah. And Parvinder, meanwhile we wait for some questions. I actually do have one question to you.
Go for it.
And this is a question I ask all of our speakers throughout the series. As you know, we are building the content, and we're giving a supporting help for our audience to build their skill sets. Do you have one secret top tip um, for our audience when they kickstart their career, their skill set in Power BI? What is your top secret
My
tip?
top secret is it's not top secret. It's like what I do day in and day out. If you're starting your career with Power BI, go to Microsoft Learning, the Power BI, like to go through that process. And the one thing which I would say, go to community forum. That's really important. That's where I learned everything from, and that's where I go back. Even you don't have a question, you look at others' question and look at the responses and learn from that. It's amazing. I go to the community not of the time just to be a answer the question, but to actually see how people are responding to the questions people put there. So if you are starting your career in Power BI, and my secret and my tip and my suggestion will be spend your time, whatever, right? 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever. Just read the post and read the answers and try to gain the knowledge. Like that's really, really powerful area. It's highly recommended.
Thank you. Such a pro tip. It's thank you so much. We have been getting some great tips for the past, well, now 4 sessions. Now today
Yeah,
is the fifth.
yeah.
So I think this is really valuable for our audience. Anybody has questions? No questions. No. Okay. Then I don't know. If no questions, then I think that means you were really, really, clear and to the point.
Either two things. Either I was to the point of certain things went over the head, but that's awesome, right? Any
I think
feedback
it's the
will be
first one.
awesome.
It is the first one. It must be the first one.
Perfect.
Yeah, then, okay, I will just quickly share my screen once again, just for one slide. Uh, and where is PowerPoint there? Yeah, here, this one. Sorry. No, not this one, not this one. Here. Yeah, so our upcoming sessions, I would just like to quickly touch on, since this is a series, and every Wednesday at 5 p.m. CET. I'm based in Stockholm, so that's what I'm saying. But yeah, so at 5 p.m. for my time, we are meeting here. Next week, we are going to be talking about aggregations. And then the week after that, on the 20th, it's time for time intelligence in Power BI. And then on the 27th, we are going to be talking about and learning about paginated reports. That was my very last slide for today. And do we have any questions? There are no more questions. Yeah. So just then, please, just make sure you register for the upcoming sessions. Oh, we have one. What does it say? Aziz, thanks, Parv Chana, for a great topic explained. Thank you indeed. Oh,
Thank
and
you, Dean.
I still need to drop the link here. Oh, I still need to find it. Just 1 second for Dave, for the series. And yes, and then there was one question earlier, also from Aziz. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, Parvinder, this PBX file. So please drop this to me, and then I will update. I have already written this in the chat, and then I will update the check-in so that everybody has access to all the resources. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I will send that to you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Here is. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm just. I will drop. I'm just looking for the. Why can't I find it? Terrible. It's my own series and I can't find it. I can't find it on YouTube. But here is this. So I'm dropping this here now. Yeah, so that's the link to the last week's session, Dave. And yes, on the same channel, we'll have this today's session up in like 24 hours, very, very quickly. Thank you so much once again, Parvin, and I will see you again on the, what was it, on the 6th of November, I believe, where you're going to be talking about the top 20 best tips of Power
Oh
BI.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah,
So, yeah,
super excited for that.
get ready for it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much and have a great day ahead.
thanks,
Okay.
Arika.
Thanks.
Thanks,
I see you
everyone.
soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk to you.
everybody. Bye
Bye.
bye.